Welcome back. This is Don Potter, and we're going to be looking at lesson 13, which is in our Beyond Basic Phonics English Morphology 101. And here we got a little shift, something new. It's really exciting. I call this Romance Prefixes number 2. Now, in the previous one, we studied long vowels and open syllables, all right? Now we're going to be studying short vowels in closed syllables. You remember the short vowels are a, e, I, That's the 5 short vowels. Long vowels were a, e, I, o, u, same as the letter names. So now we're going to see that if we put a consonant after the vowel, it's going to close. We call that closing the syllables, and it will make the vowel short. And let's see how this works. The first one, we have dis. So notice here we have a vowel and we have a consonant. So the consonant makes this vowel short. Okay? If we took away the s, it would be I, die, but it's going to be short, so it's going to be I. Now, dis means separate or undoing. In words, when you undo something. So let's see how this works out. First of all, we have dislike. And again, notice we're going to chop it. We're going to cut it right here between the dis and the like. And that will make that vowel short. And what it makes it short is that consonant. It's called closing the syllable. So if you dislike something, you don't like it. So you can see how it means separate or undoing. We like something, now we don't like it, so we undo and we dislike it. Next we have displace. When something takes something else's place, it displaces it. Display. Maybe you've been in a shop where they're selling watches, good example, and you go up to the display and you see all the watches there. Then we have dismiss, and we'll be studying the root miss later on in the Latin roots. And so to dismiss, class dismissed. Oh no, please, I'm just joking. Stay with me. Our class is not dismissed till we get down to the last word. Next, we have disembark. I love this word. Most of my tutoring students have no clue what it is, and I love teaching word meanings. So disembark means to separate, right? And if your bark is your boat, disembark means to leave the port. And so when a ship unhooks and leaves the port and goes out into the water, out into the ocean, it's called disembark. And the next one, I figure you've never thought about, discover. We all know when you discover something, you find it out, right? But did you ever think that to cover something means you can't see it because it's got a cover over it? You can't see under the cover. And when you pull the cover back, you can see what's underneath, and that's called discover. I remember one time my daughter Linda was reading a book, actually the book of Ephesians in her Bible, and we'd all gone to bed, and I got up for a drink or something, and I walked by her room, and I noticed that she was underneath the covers with a flashlight on. And I went in and I said, Linda, it's time to get to bed. And she said, she had her flashlight. She said, Dad, I'm reading my Bible. I said, oh, go ahead. I'm going back to bed. So I discovered what she was doing when she pulled the cover back, and I could see what she was doing. She was doing something good, so I just didn't say, I walked away. Sub means under. Subway, that's like a train that goes under the ground. Subtract, you have 5, take away 1, and when you go down, you subtract, you pull down. Track means to pull, by the way, so when you pull down, you come up with 1. Then we have submarine, marine being the water, so submarine is a boat that travels underwater. Subscribe, scribe means to write. And so when you subscribe, you put your name down that you want to subscribe, for example, to a magazine that'll come every month. Submerge means like when the submarine goes under the water, it's going to submerge. Now again, notice the U there is short, and the reason it's short is because the B, and that was true up here of the S. So these are closed syllables. In lesson 11, you studied open syllables. Now we're studying closed syllables. Number 3, miss means wrong or bad. So misplace, when you misplace something. Sometimes I misplace my iPhone and I have to use a little thing on my watch here to ping it to find it. Misplace. Maybe you've misplaced keys before. Misspell. If you don't spell a word right, it's misspelled. And by the way, English language, we're all, even the very best readers and writers, are always learning new spellings. Next, we have misunderstand. Understand means you know what somebody's saying, and to misunderstand means you didn't hear them or you didn't understand what they say. Misinformation is when somebody gives out information, but it's not true. A lot of times they give misinformation to deceive somebody. Misapply is when you maybe read a rule, but you don't apply it correctly, and so you misapply it. Number 4, we have X, which means out, and of course the X has the KS sound, and again it makes that E short. So here we have expect, like what do you expect to happen? Export, we'll be studying the Latin root port, which means to carry, and so export means to carry out. Extend is like when you reach for something with your hand, you extend your hand. Express, when you express yourself clearly, you speak clearly, and you have the word expression. Exterminate, yeah, you're going to terminate and you're going to get out or get rid of the ants or what other insects that you don't want. Next we have trans. By the way, that's a friend pinging me, and I'm going to keep going here. Trans means across. Trans means across, and so we have translate as we go from one language to another. Transport, port means to carry, so transport means to carry things from one place to another. Transform, the kids all love the little toys that are called Transformers. It looks like a little man and you turn it into a car or something, so you change the form when you transform it. Transatlantic, across, that would be across the Atlantic, right? A transatlantic voyage would take you across the ocean. Transmission, a lot of ways to use that. You can have a shortwave transmission where two people are talking to each other with their shortwave radios. You can also have a transmission in a car that takes the energy from the engine back to the wheels. And then you have transfer, like you get off of one bus and they transfer you over to another bus. So all of those have the idea of across, and the A in all of those is a short A because it is, remember, we're doing short vowels in closed syllables. Con means together or with. And I included this here, although we're going to have a more detailed study of this when we study the chameleon prefixes. That's going to be a later lesson. But I wanted to introduce it here to show that the O is going to be short, together with. And some of these words we're going to look at again. So we have confide. Fide's the Latin root for believe. So confide means that you can tell somebody else what you think, what you believe, and they're going to keep it a secret. You can confide in somebody. Conversion is when you convert one thing to another, and it can be used in a lot of different, conversation. Let me look at that again. There you notice I was probably looking at the word shape. Conversation, okay. Conversation here is very interesting. The vowel short, ver kind of means to turn, but anyway, The A right here isn't a syllable all by itself, and it's going to be a long vowel. Conversation. Whenever you see this T-I-O-N with an A in front of it, it's always going to say A. And so when you have a conversation, you sit down and talk to somebody, you and I could have a conversation. Next we have confirm. You can confirm say you're going to fly someplace in an airplane, and they send you a confirmation to confirm that they've got that seat reserved for you. Conclusion, you make an argument, and then at the end, you draw a conclusion to that argument. Conjunction, again, numerous meanings. The word and, but, or, nor, those are conjugations, or conjunctions, excuse me. They're conjunctions. So con means together with, and junction means to join. So a conjunction is when you bring two things together. And then finally, on the number 6, we have convince. And I hope by now I've convinced you that learning prefixes, suffixes, and roots is going to help boost your reading to a far higher level. And that when you finish this course, you're going to be a much, much better reader than when you began it. Next, we have non, which means not. And again, that O is going to be short because the consonant there, that consonant closes out the syllable. So first we have nonsense. So if it makes sense, that's good. But nonsense means that it doesn't mean anything. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. Next we have nondescript. What was he like? I don't know. It's nondescript. Next you have non-addictive. This is very important. An aspirin is not considered addictive. So you can take an aspirin and then any day you want, you can quit. But many other things, many drugs are very addictive, and you have to be very, very careful, because if you get addicted and you try and get off of it, your body's going to crave that drug, and it's very, very hard to get off of. So I recommend do not get started on anything that's going to be hard to get off of. Next we have, that's why I've never smoked once in my life, because who knows? Maybe I would have been the person that would have become addicted to nicotine and not been able to quit. And next we have non-infective. And this is where you get a cut, but it doesn't get infected. It's non-infective. Next we have non-aligned. And this is very interesting. Most states have what they call a curriculum, and they want the schools to teach these minimum skills. And if your school's not teaching those skills, it's said to be non-aligned. So that's important. Or the tires on your front of your car have to be straight like this. You can't have one like that and one like that or one like that. And so you take your car in and have it, if it's non-aligned, it'll be pulling you this way and that. You take it in to the car place and they will align your tires so it goes straight down the road. And then the last word is non-existent. So do little green men exist? Probably not. Are there men on the moon? No, I doubt it. So it's non-existent. That means not existent. All right, that covers all of these short vowels in closed syllables. Be sure and practice these and be ready to read them. I didn't mention looking these up in a dictionary, but it's a great idea to practice looking these words up in a dictionary where you can find information on the origin of the word, what language it comes from, the pronunciation of the word with the respelling, and the usage of the word and illustration of the usage of the word at different usages. Sometimes a word has more than one meaning. Okay, we'll see you in the practice sentences lesson 14 coming up.